Alright guys, it's Oink here, and in this video I'm going to be going into the Tuscan night race of the Grand Tour special event, and this is the second of two really tough special events from that section. I'm going to be breaking it down. First time obviously the broken one, and in the second time will be played back at full speed so you can get an idea of how it really plays out. Now I'm actually going to break it down this first corner here, starting nice and wide. You really want to get to grips with the car on this first corner, get a nice line through there, really cut the apex and end up wide, and you should be able to get that really nice and smooth as the first corner, so you can just restart it as many times as you want until you really get that line perfected and down. This second corner here at the end of the straight really is a tricky one. This is one that you will probably want to learn a couple of times, do it a few times before it really starts to get fast. You want to be braking early and then coming across the apex of the corner. Obviously you've got the hill to account for, and also the camber away, so obviously the camber is going to the left, which really induces understeer and means you might have to slow down more than you otherwise would want to. I brake early and then turn in nice and early as well, so you're right on the inside of the corner, and you should be able to then accelerate and get a nice amount of power through. Keep it nice and smooth, try not to drop off your speed too much. The smoother that is, the better, because you really want to get a good start on this. Now this course is really about understanding the course, trying to know it, so this is going to take more than a few tries. You really want to know the track. The night, obviously, really poor lighting and lots of blind corners, so you've really got to know your track on this one. This corner especially is a tricky one. You've got a blind hill coming down to the left, and then you've got to wiggle right, left and right, and you really want to be in a position where you know where you're going to come out on the road, where your exit is, where your entrance is, even if you can't see the corner, so that you can really hit that with as fast a pace as possible. And that's not really something that you can do if you don't know the track that well. I don't do it the best, but I try to apply as much speed as possible coming through there, and as soon as you hit the downhill you've really got lots of power on the left hand wheels there, and you can apply the speed, and then the exact opposite coming around that left hand bend you've got the power on the right hand wheels, and you can really accelerate through the corners there and make up a lot of speed. So you can see I take fourth coming just onto this straight here, heading up the hill after the Lamborghini Miura. And again, this is another blind corner. You can actually put a lot of power down, brake nice and early and turn nice and early, and as soon as you're on the top of that hill, that's time to get the power in, start accelerating through. With these it's starting to get a bit darker now, so again, really need to know your track here. I take third place at 1 minute 13 seconds, just there before the straight. Just a few sort of half seconds here and there, and it's easy to be still behind the Miura on the straight. I mean, that's, I've done that loads of times, and you might find that that's the case, and it's really about picking up those just little bits here and there and getting the overtakes as early as possible. Coming up to the end of the straight, I managed to take the F40 here, and this corner just coming up is a very tough one, especially as it's late on in the track here. You've got a hairpin right just after a very slight left hand turn, and the problem is you don't need to brake for the left hand turn, but if you don't brake then you'll end up too far wide on the right and with too much speed to take the hairpin, so you really need to kind of be braking early, but at the same time if you're braking whilst making the left hand turn it will just cause the car to spin out, which you obviously don't want. So it's really about getting a balance of the control round the left hand dogleg corner, just a slight left hander, but also having enough braking distance to get around the right hand hairpin bend. So it's about just understanding how the car is going to handle, just softly applying the brakes and the steering there. You can see I just get the car under control coming around it. It's not the fastest corner in the world there, could have done that quicker, but it's all about getting the safety and the control on the car, and just really understanding where the car is and isn't going to spin out, and how far you can really push that going around the corner. Between here and first place then, coming after that straight, it's really just a race against the clock at this stage, and because you haven't got time to practice this part of the track as much, because obviously you'll be restarting near the beginning lots but not so much near the end, because you'll have to play it through loads of times to even get to this point, I find that it's these kind of points which I am slower at. So whilst it's not necessarily that I'm making mistakes here, between getting second here and finally overtaking the guy in first, this is where I'm the slowest, and it's sort of like if you can get this end section down, you'll notice that things get much easier. Really about being aggressive with the car. The corners aren't too difficult. You can see I take first at 2:41 just before the last corner. And it's really just about taking the corners as fast as you can. There's nothing too sharp, nothing too tricky. Final time, by the way, 2:49 on the overall thing. I'm going to play this round again in full speed so you guys can get an idea of it, and I'll just talk you through some more things. So with those last few corners, like I said, about getting nice smooth lines around the corners. They're generally sort of 45% left and right handers. Sometimes you get a left right and then a right left, that sort of thing, and it's just like I said, getting the perfect line. And if you get a good line, you can keep your speed high, and a high average speed at that last sort of 25% of the course. I mean, that's basically is what's going to get you gold, and you offset that with the high precision that you want on the first half. Obviously the first half is where you can really practice because you don't have to go far into it, and the second half is where you just want to be consistent and at high average speeds. Like I said, I'm going to reiterate that this is all about understanding how the car handles. It's a funny setup and you don't have the best tyres, so it's not the best gripping car. So really understanding how the Lamborghini is going to handle, how when it's going to spin, when you're going to get grip, that sort of thing. Something that is really important for this. The other thing is factoring into memorizing the track, because obviously the darkness makes it really difficult to sort of foresee where the track's going, as well as the fact that it's got hills, trees, all sorts of things that just make it an absolute nightmare to navigate. Really want to know, like I said, where you're going to be on the track. Almost, I don't want to say do it blindfolded, obviously that's impossible, but just almost as if you could do it blindfolded. If you turn now, see for example on that straight, you can barely even see that slight right-hander. And it's only a slight corner, but you still need to know it's there, otherwise you can end up too far wide, for example, and then that will mess up your line for the next corner. So it's just things like that, being able to predict what's going to happen because you know the course, as opposed to, oh, there's a left-hander, then you go. And just small things like that is what's going to help you. Using your map is a good handicap, a good assist there. You can't see it because I'm in the replay mode here, but normally you'd have a mini map up as long as you haven't turned it off. I recommend, at least if you're just starting this, make sure you're keeping an eye on that, maybe have it a little bit zoomed out so you can really get that extra foresight into what the track is going to be doing. Okay, there's a left-hander, oh yes, I remember what that left-hander is now, and then you can take it better, as opposed to sort of trying to think on your feet and trying to play it by ear, which I wouldn't really recommend. You want to just know this off by heart and really understand exactly what you want to be doing for each corner. And once you've sort of got that all going over in your head, then it's really time to hit the gold, try and just nail everything and try and get your gold. So hopefully this has helped you out. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.